Welcome to Ladies Who Launch, not your average business podcast. Dropping every other Wednesday, Alyssa and Dakota are two successful and opinionated marketing entrepreneurs engaging in insightful conversations with industry thought leaders, as well as casual conversations surrounding our lives as entrepreneurs.
Welcome back to another episode of Ladies Who Launch, coming from you from the very hot and muggy Calgary on a Friday afternoon. What is happening in this lovely hot summer day, Dakota?
Not a lot. Just your typical Friday.
Yeah, it's 10-1 as we record this, and I think I'm probably going to nap after this. This is my day. An afternoon nap with the fan on, I think is going to be fantastic.
Perfect. I think that's what I'm going to do too.
Yeah, it's that. Anyway, this episode is going to be quick because it's just sort of a quick me ranting about the state of social media and Dakota giving us some updates on some of the changes that are happening in the social media world right now. But obviously why this came to be and why it's sort of timely is the introduction of Threads from Meta as a direct competitor to Twitter, because we know Twitter is an absolute toilet flushing fire, whatever, since Elon Musk took over. And Mark Zuckerberg is being a typical Disney villain and basically stepping in to be like, oh, we're just going to take this over. And under normal circumstances, Mark Zuckerberg is a total effing asshat. But for some reason, everyone's viewing Mark as the savior for the sort of Twitter style social media algorithm or app with sort of the scrolling blog style app that Twitter is. And I just have to say, and I think I posted this when Threads first started, that I have two issues. Number one, I am not going to start an entire process of aggregating a following on Threads that I have on Twitter. I'm done. If Twitter goes down tomorrow, it's just over. I'm not spending all that time to create another space. It's like when CDs took over for tapes, or at some point you're just like, I'm getting off the train of every new thing. And number two, and Dakota can probably go into this further, but people don't really understand that your Threads account is attached to your Instagram account and therefore is undeletable unless you want to actually delete your Instagram account. And of course, the fact that no one thought that Mark Zuckerberg would figure out a way to make it beneficial for him to ensure that no one can get off the app is just astounding to me, that somehow they thought this was benevolent of Mark Zuckerberg to create this. But that's just sort of where I'm at. I'm tired. I get it. Everybody feels they need to be online all the time. But if Twitter exits, which it probably will do because Elon Musk is an absolute toolbox, I'm not doing it again. So from your perspective, Dakota, who does this, what kind of questions and thoughts are you getting from clients or even yourself? Because the social landscape just seems like it's a bit of a cluster right now.
I think it's always a bit of a cluster in that it's just being updated at a speed that is ridiculous and no one can keep up with. I think what bugs me the most is, it simultaneously bugs me and then simultaneously excites me because then there's just more opportunity. But what bugs me and makes me nervous and cringy, but this is just me coming from a reactionary place, is when these new apps and ways to connect with audiences show up and clients are either they don't know about it and it's your responsibility to tell them as an agency, or they know about it and they're like, we need to get on this right away. And so my call to action for that is always know about the app or the thing before you introduce it to a client or consider it. And just to kind of pull from experience, I literally have said no so many times to many clients about TikTok until it made sense. And it had only been like the beginning of this year that I was like, okay, now we can introduce a TikTok strategy because we know why. Because the narrative is always, oh, it's new, let's get on it. And that's not the right narrative. So understand what it is, who it targets, who's using it, and what is required from like a time management standpoint. And then you can consider, oh, hey, this is a cool new thing. Does it make sense for me or my client? And you come to the client and say, hey, there's this new app. It's going to take us X more amount of time, but it's going to reach this audience. And oh, our Twitter maybe isn't like working the way that we want it to, but here are the ramifications of swapping. And so just looking at everything before you make that decision.
Have you seen, and this is what I find most interesting, like I'm speaking from personal use, but if you were a small business, I mean, we are small businesses and I'm a small business and I have not gone on Threads, but, or started Threads, but are small, like, is there a benefit for small businesses? And I'm talking about small businesses who aren't already on Twitter, like, because Twitter isn't really it's not really a transactional space for small business. But so if you're a small business, but that has an Instagram account that's done quite well, or that you have a good brand identity there, you have good visual, like the expectation is that people just should be on Threads so that they can then push the threads back to their Instagram because it's connected. But I don't know what, if, or any benefit there is to a business right now to just go hop on Threads because you think you should.
I don't think that there really is. I'm testing it out on my own with a new brand that I've started for myself. But yeah, I am looking into it for one client because I do think it could make sense. Just because they are more of a conversational client and our Twitter isn't really serving us right now. And we do have a really, we have a lot of success on Instagram. But other than that, I just don't think we know enough.
Yeah. And I guess this is just sort of my, not concern, because that's too strong of a word, but it's just sort of my observations and sort of living in the society of everyone having to jump on the next shiny thing, is that it's one more, I mean, even from a personal perspective, it's still one more app you have to be on and updating and all that stuff. But just because something comes into the market doesn't mean it's the right thing for anyone. And I think the huge amount of people that signed up for Threads right away, which was like something crazy, like 100 million people or something, just then shows people like Mark Zuckerberg at Meta that they can basically do anything and people will follow them. Knowing full well that Meta is basically the master Disney villain, and knowing full well that they sell all your information, they were found to be a part of the election tampering from the US election in 2020 and how their algorithms are pushing out misinformation. Like, Mark Zuckerberg is a horrible person. I mean, so is Elon Musk. I don't think any of us are like looking at these tech bros as like some sort of bastion of morality. But I just find it sort of a sad state of the world that as soon as someone seemingly comes up with something that's going to make that somehow better or whatever than the current thing, that everyone immediately joins on. It's like we're all Pavlov's dogs. And the minute it's like, ooh, shiny, ooh, new bell, we all go. And I'm like, you're basically just proving, we as people are just proving to Mark Zuckerberg and the ilk that they can basically do anything to us as people and we will not care as long as there's something shiny coming down the pipe.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. And that is why I think we have a responsibility as business owners and individuals to show up on social media and connect in an authentic, intentional way. And this is the direction I'm trying to take my company and the only brands that I will work with. And one thing I will say that I am always impressed with time and time again for the last 7 years is the fact that my clients trust me. And I'm not impressed with that. But what I'm impressed with is the fact that when I say, no, it's not the right fit for us, they listen to me.
Yeah.
And so I think we all get hyped up because of the media and the noise, but it's just taking that responsibility of taking a beat and really considering if it's the right thing. But yeah, that's always going to be a thing. And I would argue that that's been a thing for years, even before the Elon Musks and Mark Zuckerbergs of the world.
Yeah.
In the marketing sphere, I would say that's kind of a marketing superpower, is the ability to get people on board with something and get sort of a cult following. Now, if it's done for vacuous, toxic reasons, then not so great. But yeah, I think that the things that add the most value to society will stick around and the things that don't will fall off. And I think even this new bill that was passed in Canada recently in relation to news with Facebook is evidence of that, in the sense that, and like even AI, like there's no hell that would allow robots to take over this world. And if it does, well, then I'm out. So I do truly believe that womankind, everyone kind, like the world and everyone in it, there's still a semblance of intentionality and the ability to think for ourselves. But I think it takes us a minute to get there sometimes.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And I think that's why I mean, as much as I love tech and learn, like, because I was on ChatGPT and all those stuff, like I love sort of feeling about, I didn't sort of early adopt Threads and even just started an account is because it's connected. And as soon as Meta figures out that like it actually will benefit people if you do disconnect those two, because here's the thing is that even from a business, whether it's business perspective or personal perspective, the thing with Threads is it ports over all of your Instagram contacts. But the people that I follow and who are followers of me on Twitter are totally different than the people who follow me or whatever on Instagram. And so it's like, I don't need those two to connect. So it's an interesting thing that like, I don't need my Instagram followers to port over to Threads, because those aren't the type of people that, or I use the apps differently. And so I use Instagram differently than Twitter. So like, I wouldn't intend to use Threads the same way as I would use Instagram. And I think that's been a bit of a miss on that point. And I guess I'm not everybody, because most people, maybe even from a business perspective, don't understand using those two different audiences differently. But normally I'm like, I like early adopting to these sorts of things. But this one has sort of like put me back, like, wait a minute. I mean, I think I'm just going to sit this one out for a little bit in terms of like them really figuring out what Threads should be and can be before I jump on the train, because I also don't want to create an account on Threads and have it sit there because I'm not entirely sure what to do with it yet. And I think a lot of people do that too. It's like, oh, I just want to get my name or my business name. I won't need to get it signed up so I can make sure I have an account with that name, but then it sits dormant, and that isn't really helpful either. So I think it's probably just a lesson for everyone, personally and business wise, that, like Dakota said, just sit back for a few minutes, take a deep breath, and figure out if it's actually the right thing. Because being the first at things doesn't mean it's always the best.
Not at all.
Anyway, I think it's going to be interesting because, I mean, I don't think I was a late adopter to TikTok too. I did not get on that app right away. And now I find it quite enjoyable because, again, I'm an observer on TikTok. I don't make videos there, but the people I follow are different than on other apps I have. So, but yet I wasn't sure that I thought TikTok might have been like just a COVID app. Like, oh, people are on this because they're at home and they have nothing else to do. I didn't foresee the TikTok phenomenon that has happened, but I also didn't see like Elon Musk basically tanking Twitter in 18 months either. So, the entire sort of social tech world it's going to be interesting to see what this all looks like in even even 5 years, well, even less than 2 to 3 years of how, because I mean, the only reason Facebook still exists is because it's owned by Meta. Facebook would have gone away already if Meta didn't like support it, or it wasn't Meta, because it's sort of irrelevant now unless you're like angry and yelling at clouds on Facebook. But it's Meta's bread and butter, because that's where they get to like spew their most, or have people be the most angry and the most engaged. And so it benefits them, but there is no way that Facebook would still exist if it wasn't Meta.
Agreed.
And so that's kind of what's also scary too, is like, where does this all end?
And I don't think it will. I think it'll just continue to evolve and evolve and evolve.
Yeah. And I mean, I think this, if there was ever a time for a socially responsible and decent human to come into the tech sphere, it's now.
Yeah.
I don't know who that person is, but if that person could come in and just be what Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg will never be, I think we'd all be better off, let's be honest. But anyway.
I mean, I feel the same way with dating apps, but that's a story for another day.
Oh, yes. Speaking of dating apps, I just got a message from one of my friends who's just back out in the dating scene after being married for 20 something years. And she's like, what are these? And I'm like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She's like, I already want to delete them. She's like, these men are awful. I'm like, yeah. And you're in your 50s and they're awful. So everyone who says, oh, as you get older, they apparently don't get better as they get older. I'm like, so there's dating app.
Totally.
Day. Just to depress everyone. But anyway, obviously Dakota and I are not anti-social or tech or whatever, because we live this and we enjoy most parts of it. It's just always an interesting conversation when something comes out that is created by a Disney villain and no one seems to care. And just like en masse, like flocks to it. Even though it's owned by, like, it's just, anyway, we are weird people.
The whole thing.
We are weird.
Entirely.
Anyway, as always, this was a quick summer episode for everyone, just to discuss sort of the timely social changes. But we will be back in September. This is our last episode of the summer with all new cool things. I think Dakota and I will get into discussing some of the big plans we have for Ladies Who Launch in our first episodes as we enter into the fall. So come join us as we evolve and grow this little amazing community that we have cultivated here. And anyway, have a great rest of your summer, and we will see you in September.
Thank you for listening to Ladies Who Launch. Join Dakota and Alyssa every second Wednesday for more conversations and interesting guests. Be sure to give us a 5-star rating and connect with us on Facebook and Instagram. If you send us a question, we may answer it on a future episode.